Hey, what is it, guys? So I've gone back to my Plunder Runick list. I did have some fun with Elder Lich, and I will put up that deck profile at some point, as well as some feature matches of the other decks that have been played at locals. But for now, I've been going on to deck profiles because I've been amending stuff for next format, as well as looking through what others at locals have been playing, and it will be a bit more interesting for the format moving forward. Obviously, I have no clue how Age of Overlord's going to go because I haven't looked into it too much. I'm more of a I'll deal dragon for the free drawing. Coral has come up a few times where it's just a case of popping stuff. It hasn't come up too much, but it's still good to have free draws because you want to make sure that if you get your Hugin negated, you still have free access to Fountain. Also, if you're going first, do not ditch this off Hugin. It locks you, and then you can't do your Coral Dragon stuff, so you don't get the extra draws. So it kind of makes it very, very difficult to get up into the Jord unless you have stuff already. You want to normal summon this, and then when this effect activates, you chain the Runick spell, so you have free access to stuff. This is great because it's always in the grave, so it's free stuff, free revival. You have access to whatever you need at the time. And then the little bit of a change, we've now bumped the Bluebeard up to 2 because free drawing is free drawing, and plus this is just a free extender. So I don't know why I played it at 1. Well, I do know. It was just for the fact I thought to myself that the draw will only come up once and it won't matter after that. But when it starts going to the grind game a bit more and you don't have access to your runic stuff, you want to get the free draw power to make stuff good. The 2 black eyes, my opponent keeps on forgetting that this has the second effect to summon Whitebeard and Redbeard from my spell and trap zone. So the amount of times where I've actually gone, my opponent's ran over my Whitebeard because it's in that awkward situation. I've used this to summon back the Redbeard and then have free access into stuff again. Also, free adding from grave. My opponents also keep forgetting, and I actually didn't notice this. This summons itself, then adds back from the grave, so you get the body regardless. And then we play the 1 Redbeard. The second one rarely comes up. I've cut it down because we don't need the second, actually. It sometimes matters if you draw it because you can't summon it off the Whitebeard, but the amount of times where I've actually used this as discard fodder to equip to my ships so then they become quick effects again, that's more useful than the actual tagging out during my opponent's turn because we're playing runic stuff, so we have free swap removal anyways. And then to round off all the plunder stuff, we still play the field spell and we still play the trap. We never play the equip spell. We never will play the equip spell unless you're playing pure or adventure stuff in it. But even though I have contemplated playing the adventure stuff in it, I've tested it and it does brick a lot more than this, and I don't particularly want to be bricking every 5 minutes. And also, evenly has seen a bit more plays at the locals that I play, but that's just because Trap Tricks is a deck, so it appears more often, and I don't want to get even lead with a damn token on the field. But these you still have to play as one of. This it's just free stuff. It has put stuff back that I need that's quick to stuff, so that I can make more ships from my extra deck. DC is just a free extender, and the amount of times I actually side this out, I contemplate not maining it, but then every time that I think, oh, I don't need this in the main, there have been that game where I wish that this was still in the main. It's usually game 3 dependent on the matchup, but it's just, it always gets sniped at the end of the day, so worst comes to worst, it's just clickbait, so it then just dies, and then I have access to other stuff instead. Then for the kaijus, we play the 1 Earth Kaiju, 1 Light Kaiju, and 1 Dark Kaiju. I wish I had a Fire Kaiju because the fire comes up more than the Earth one does, because Dogoron is just a card that allows me to go into Bran, which is back row removal, but I can never seem to find a Dogoron, so we're just playing this for the time being. We don't play Gamazeel because Gamazeel sucks in this deck, because all it does is make you go Blackbeard into Blackbeard. Fair enough, you can sometimes tag a Whitebeard or a Redbeard out to make a Blackbeard, but that is very, very rare, and it's very bad if you're doing that, so we'd rather have this if you don't have access to any of the others. This is just for the light target for this, and this is the dark target for a Mork. I don't tend to always go into this because the amount of times where because of just drawing absolute ass, you will draw one of these two, well, both of these actually, and then I just have to debate whether or not I want to give my opponent a light target for the ship, or if I just want to run up their kaiju. But besides that, it's actually good. We don't play Lava Golem or any of the other stuff. I could have played a Volcanic Queen because I'm too poor to own the Dogoron. However, we're not doing that because just new. But yeah, that's really it for the Kaiju stuff. We don't actually play Slumber. It gets ashed, and the amount of times I wish it was just another card, it just makes it better. Then we do play the 3 Ash Blossom. It's just a nice card to draw. It's the only hand trap that I actually really want to play. If I was going to not play this, I'd be playing Droll, but this actually does stuff in the main still, so it's useful. Then for the Runick stuff, standard Runicks, 2 Fountain, 3 Tip, 3 Flashing Fire, 3 Freezing Curses, 3 Destruction, 3 Slumber, Smiting Storm, and Dispelling. The only reason why we play these is because it actually does come up. Dispelling is just an extra name for free summoning purposes, and because Branded is at my locals, this actually does hit stuff, because the amount of times where I've seen it in games where my opponents searched for a branded card and not actually had anything left in hand, this just gets rid of the branded fusion or whatever he's just searched, so why not? And if not, it's just a case of it just gets rid of stuff that's just a problem, because it gets to a point in certain games where your opponent's actually searching stuff where all their hands just good gas, so just sniping one of the stuff is actually good. Smiting Storm I played because I learnt my lesson with not the sense of this is a name, but because of just the free banishing. Like, I've been up against Flunder, I've been against Tier and all the other stuff. And if they go off first and they combo off, you can just Smiting Storm half the deck nearly, because they've, well, a third of the deck, because they've already gone through a good chunk of it. Then you just Smiting Storm off about half, well, enough to get you down to half, and then you're just playing regular Runick with just a bit of control from Plunder, and you can just win from there. There was a Tier match actually where I went up against, where he just scooped as soon as he saw me play this. Didn't even see me play any other Runick cards, because he'd gone through he'd gone through double mill 5 and then a couple of other mills, so he had about 20 cards left in deck and had about 6 cards on field. So we just went this, and then he just scooped because he realised that it was Runick and he was just going to lose the rest of his deck. And then the last cards that we play is the double talents. I don't play ruler anymore. I contemplate maining ruler still, but it doesn't matter as much. I'd rather have the talents because it gives me 3 options of either taking your stuff, ripping cards out of your hand, or the free draw 2. It just depends on the circumstance which effect you want to use. 9 times out of 10, if I'm going first, it's just rip cards from his hand, because if he's ashed me, I want to get rid of something else and know what I'm playing around, so I know if I'm making Jord, which ship I need to make to actually out and deal with their board. Taking stuff is actually quite good. Rarely comes up though, because obviously I don't have battle phase. Most I'm using this for is like Snatch Steal, so then I can just play the other stuff, but beyond that it doesn't really come up too much. Then for the extra deck, it's pretty standard still, so we still play the 3 Blackbeard. You never play any less than this. 2 Lace, 2 Mork, 1 Jord, and 1 Bran. So the reason why we play these ratios is because Blackbeard is the best one. You run out of this card, you start losing very quickly. Lace and Mork, you don't need any more than 2. Sometimes it's come up, but it's just a case of you just play the game more tactfully and be wary of if you are running out of ships, so that you can use what is it, Black Eyes and the Plunder Patrol trap, the booty, to put these back into your extra deck, because it does put stuff back into deck. It is a great little pot of avarice like that. Also, Jord puts stuff back. We don't play more Jord because the original theory was we played it at 2, and it never came up after I learned how to play this deck properly. Like, fair enough, making tokens is great, but the deck still functions without being able to do that, as long as you know how to pilot it correctly. I think the only deck that I thought of playing a second one of this in was Striker, and when I used to play Rivalry Warlords in the main, this was actually good because it just fiend locked my opponent. But now learning how to play it properly, it doesn't. You don't need the second one. You don't need a second Bran either, because I rarely actually just make Bran in general, because my opponents never really have fires, and I tend to not synchro into this anyways. If I can synchro into something, I synchro into this. However, it does come up in certain situations where you can go during your turn to search for Redbeard, and then use Branditch the Redbeard to search for Whitebeard, and then the Redbeard equips to this, so then it becomes a ship that turns into a quick effect again. But yeah, that's really it for the names. You don't actually need to play any additional names over that. It kind of sucks. Then for the Runick ones, we play 2 Jerry and 2 Hugin. I am contemplating playing Hugin at 3, because the third one does come up, because when you do the standard combo to get to Jord plus everything else, you actually go through 2 Hugin. So if you don't draw if your opponent negates one of them to go to the fountain, then you just don't have access, and you just have to pray that you hard draw into a tip or something like that. Second Gary kind of comes up, not as often as I would think it would. It mainly comes up as free synchro material if I don't actually draw the stuff that I need to actually send to make Jord. That's why I kept it at 2, but I might put it down to 1 and then have just the 3 Hugin. It varies. It just depends on your kind of playstyle for this. For now, 2 and 2 is fine because it achieves what it needs to achieve. And then finally, we play the 1 Bagushka and the 1 Coral Dragon. We play this because it's just free stuff. If we know we can't make our opponent play slower, we just make this by going Runick Spell and then nulling a Plunder and then just sit on this. But every single time I've made this, my opponent's somehow drawn Imperm, Dark Ruler, any form of negate that just doesn't get stopped by Bagushka, so kind of get fed up with something like this. And Coral Dragon, it's a free pop and also a free draw, but we mainly use it for the free draw. That's really it. And then finally, we just have some very, very nice tokens that we just use for the job. Then for the extra deck, the side deck, we play the 1 Mumin. The reason why we play the Mumin is because when we go into time, it's just amazing, just free gaining life points, and then you just play Protect the Mumin deck. 2D Barrier, D Barrier. You draw this against Brand, you auto win, because by the time they get back into drawing stuff, you've already got rid of a load of stuff, and then they're just playing Lubellion to get resources back, so it's not a good day for them. Double White Howling. So this is a weird card that I used to play back in Striker format. So the effect of this is if you control a water monster, you can target 1 spell in your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and then they're under Imperial Order for the rest of the turn. So depending on the matchup, this is actually very, very good as a card. I mainly use this for the actual Runick mirror match. I don't tend to have it at locals. This is more when I go other places, because you just hit one of their Runick spells and then they can't really do anything because they're sat under stuff that doesn't really do anything really. Because they make the fountain and they play stuff, they activate fountain's effect, and you just go no, while getting rid of like a tip or something from the grave, so they just have sad times from there. Striker, this just instantly shuts them down, but Striker isn't that much in the format. I've mainly found that this is actually quite good against Pearly, because they play some random spell like Prosperity or something like that, and then it just shuts them down for the turn. Then the standard triple evenly matched. We will contemplate playing Lightning Storm, but this actually does more. The 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, because it's Harpies, doesn't really need an explanation. The triple Dark Ruler no more, because if you go second, this just out stuff, and then you can just start playing regular Runick stuff to just get rid of the spot removal, and then you just win from there. And then the 3 of the other trap, the Bell, this gets sided in dependent on the matchup. I would main it, but I think the Kaijus actually do more. We don't play any other hand traps because Veiler kind of sucks because you make lists, which is a monster negate anyways. Droll does sometimes come up, but I don't mind if my opponent starts searching because it means it's quicker to my win strategy. The Ghost Sister, we could make it because there is actually Water Synchro that adds it to our hand. However, it doesn't really matter when you play Mumin and Ghost Reaper. Well, what am I going to Reaper target at this point? So this is why we play this instead. I used to side Kaijus with Slumber, but I don't think it actually matters as much, because anytime I've slumbered someone, they've always ashed it, and then it's something dead, and I still have the problem card to deal with on the field, and not everything can just be slumbered away. Sometimes you just need to have the Kaiju to walk over it. Well, to sit on top of it and just get rid of the problem. But it's alright as the deck. It's not any big combo sort of stuff. You get to what you need to very quickly. But I'll just go through like a standard combo for it. So usually with the combos for Runick, you actually require 2 Runick spells and ideally 2 Runick spells and a Whitebeard, because it gives you full combo from there, because you go Runick spell, search for Hugin, well, Runick spell special summon the Hugin. Then we use the Hugin's effect to ditch any random card from hand, to search for the access to the copy of Fountain. To search for the Fountain, so now you have access to Fountain. Then we go normal summon the Whitebeard, synchro these off to make a Coral Dragon. Then we go Whitebeard effect, chain the Runick spell, doesn't really matter for the circumstance tip. So then we get a free summon again into another Hugin. And then the Runick spell will resolve. Runick spell resolves, and then the Whitebeard resolves to summon blue or golden, depending on where you are in the game. Then you go link these two off to make Blackbeard. Well, no, sorry, not link them off. You synchro them off to make Jord. Use Jord's effect to add the Whitebeard back to hand. And then we use Jord for 2 tokens to summon 2 light tokens by default when you go first. Depending on the matchup, if it's going second, you might want to summon a fire token. But for now, a light token. And then you link the Bluebeard and the token away to summon the Blackbeard. And then you tag Blackbeard out into Liss. So from that, you will have got a free draw from the Blackbeard. You would have got a free draw from the Coral Dragon, potentially a free draw from Bluebeard if you've got something dead in your hand that you don't need. And also, at any point, you could have had the Fountain. Now, in this situation that I give the example, I'm being a bit greedy and would have other Runick stuff in hand because that's just how this deck works, kind of. So then I'd get the draw 3 from Fountain instead. And also, the major reason why I don't tend to do it is because I want to make the list before using Fountain effect, so then I get the free draw 3 and the list protects, because if they have Ghost Ogre or anything like that, just no, I'm not dealing with it. But yeah, that's really it for the deck. Some versions that I've seen recently have started playing Bestials in it, but I don't think Bestials is going to come up as much. I'd rather have the access to Kaijus instead, because it just outs more stuff. And dealing with stuff in the grave is not really that much of a problem. Fair enough, Math Mech with the Superfactorial thing is still annoying to deal with. However, we play Kaiju, so we should be fine against it. But beyond that, it just dependent on your locals. Obviously, a lot of this changes. I've built this now. Well, I will be building this more for when I go to regionals and things like that, and when I'm not judging. But yeah, besides that, that's really the deck. Open to suggestions as always. Please do leave them in the comment section because I do like amending this as much as possible. And I'll be sending it now. Peace.